Hello everybody, thanks for joining me today. It has been a while since I've done a video, so bear with me. I'm probably going to use note cards and take breaks and say a lot, so I'm very sorry about that. But we're going to do a video on head lice, and I think it will be very informative and educational for a lot of people. If you have extra questions or anything after you watch the video, just go ahead and comment below the video, or you can shoot me a private message if you're not comfortable with putting questions under this video. I know some people can be really embarrassed if they have a head lice outbreak at their house. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. But I think it's good to know what to look for, what to do to prevent a head lice outbreak, how to treat properly, and who to notify so that those people can treat properly and prevent the spread of head lice, because nobody wants it and it's not fun to get rid of. I want to do a shout out to my social media channels so that you don't miss anything. Make sure you're following me on each one of my channels and liking and sharing the videos with anybody that you think would find meaning in them. On Facebook, I have a business page, Rule 32 in Osage, Iowa. You can like that page and it'll notify you when I post things. On Instagram, it's Rule32_OsageIA. YouTube, just look for Rule 32 channel. That's what people search and they're able to find it. If you can't find it that way, Facebook, Instagram, and I also have TikTok. TikTok is at Rule 32 Osage. But on Facebook and Instagram, I have a link to my YouTube channel in my bio on those two social media things. So that'll take you out to YouTube. I know on my Facebook profile, I have posted the link to my YouTube channel a couple times. So if you just kind of look through the feed, you should come across it. So go out and check those out, like them, share them with anybody that can find meaning in any of the videos that I have done. I think this is number 12 maybe. But either way, just keep watching and giving me feedback. I appreciate all of it. I appreciate your support and watching the videos and talking about it with your friends and family. So thank you. We'll get started. So I want to start off by saying that all the information sourced in this video is either from my own personal experience or client's experience. I pulled quite a bit of information from mayoclinic.org and WebMD, and then I am going to talk a little bit about the Fairy Tales hair care line. So I pulled some information from fairytaleshaircare.com, which is the website that you can look up all their products, read about their products, I think even order their products. But I can obtain almost anything that they have on their website here for sale in my shop. So if there's something that you go out there and you see that you want that I don't carry, just let me know. So just so you know, that's where all my information for this video came from. And I hope you find it helpful. All right, so we're gonna dive right in here. It's gonna be a lot of information. Feel free to rewatch it or take notes or whatever you need to do through this video, and reflect back later if you come into contact with head lice and need to treat it or anything like that. I hope it's going to be very user-friendly for you. So here we go. What is head lice and how do you treat them? Head lice are a parasite. They feed on human blood and they live primarily on the human scalp. Isn't that just lovely? Commonly found on school-age children. This is going to be because they have such close contact. It's transmitted very easily through close contact. So school, daycare, slumber parties at home, that kind of thing, where coats and hats, scarves, bedding, hairbrushes, anything like that that's being shared between people will be transmitted very easily because those are where their heads raise. So I would like to add that personal hygiene and cleanliness at school or at home or at daycares really does not have a whole lot to do with the transmission of this, or if you get it. It really has nothing to do with being clean. It's really just, it happens. You know, you come in contact with somebody that has it, that bug transfers, you can't wash that bug out of the hair. It has to be either physically removed or treated. So just keep that in mind, that just because you get it does not mean that you have the dirty kid or the dirty house or anything like that. It is just what happens. It just happens. Let's talk a little bit about the stages of head lice. There are eggs, nits, and adults. So the egg is obviously the egg. The nit is going to be that little itty bitty, almost microscopic newborn head lice. And then you have the adult size lice that is about the size of a sesame seed, if you're familiar with that. When you are treating head lice, you must remove all 3 life cycles. So just because you run a treatment over the head and the bugs come out and you look through and you see no bugs, there are still eggs on that hair shaft and you have to get them off. Otherwise those will hatch and reinfest. So we're gonna get into that, stay tuned. So I'm gonna talk about how you avoid transmission. Keep items separate, such as hats, scarves, brushes, combs, hair accessories, headphones, pillows, towels, things like that. Items hung on the same hook at school or in a locker, those are going to be in very close contact, so that could be somewhere where they could transmit. Other ways to avoid transmission would be just treating head lice properly. If your child or someone or you ends up having head lice, just make sure that you go through the proper steps and you try to get rid of it the best that you can and effectively as you can, and that will avoid transmission. And I will go into step by step about how to treat and how to get rid of them and keep them gone. Symptoms to look for. Itching is going to be number 1. Anytime I see any of my children itch their head, I pull them aside and I look, and they know that I'm a crazy person, and I'm very much on top of what their scalp looks like, and if there's an issue, we take care of it. We have had head lice in our house over the last 18 years, more times than I can count on 2 hands. And there have been times where we have it for months at a time, because once one kid gets rid of it, another kid gets it, and they just pass it back and forth. And again, we'll go into all the steps and you'll understand why, when you're treating it, it is so important to stay on top of that cycle and completely get rid of them. And the sad thing is, once you get rid of them, they can go back to school or back to daycare or anywhere where they can come in contact with it and get it again. So it's just being vigilant about getting rid of them and treating them. Second symptom is going to be actual lice on the scalp or hair. They're hard, small, you have to look behind the ears, base of the neck, do all the comb out, and again, we'll get into that. Lice, eggs, or nits on the hair shaft. You will notice an egg on the hair shaft will stick to it, whereas if you just kind of go like this and it falls off, those are most likely flakes on the hair. But the egg will not do that. The egg is stuck to that hair shaft with like a little glue that the head lice puts on it to stick it, so that that egg will stay in its best environment to grow and hatch and turn into a parasite. Okay, so I'm going to take you through my suggested treatment. This is what I do when my children end up being infected, we'll say, by head lice. This is the process that I follow. So first you are going to get a lice treatment. The one that I carry at the shop is the Fairy Tales brand. You're going to get the treatment product in here and a comb, which most over-the-counter, like if you go to the drugstore, Dollar General, Walmart, Target, wherever it is that you decide to buy your lice treatment from, there should be a treatment in there and a lice comb. So first you are going to follow all the package instructions, whichever package you decide to go with, or there are many of treatment options out there on the internet. If you feel the need to search and see people do mayonnaise, people do all kinds of crazy stuff. I find that unfortunately the chemicals work the best, and this is one that the chemicals are very, very safe for treatment on children, so I'll get into that later. But anyway, you're going to follow the package instructions and do a complete comb out of the head. So that's going to be number 1. You're going to comb out the head. You are going to remove all the lice, nits, and eggs that you can find. So you're going to need some supplies to do that. So the supplies that I collect to do the head lice comb out, I'm going to kind of show you here. So your package should come with a lice comb. It should be a comb with very dense teeth that are very close together. Might be metal, might be plastic, you know, it just kind of depends on which product you end up going with to treat. You're also going to need tail combs. Tail combs are really good for when you want to take those paper thin slices, which you're going to have to do for this. So I have an assortment of tail combs, but anything like this, you can use another comb if that's all that you have. These are very inexpensive, and honestly, if you have an issue with head lice and you need a tail comb, give me a call and I'll hook you up with a tail comb. It's really not a big deal, but these are what I think works best. You're also going to need clips. You're going to section the hair into 4 quadrants, and I'll insert a snapshot of that. And you are definitely going to want to keep that hair separate so that you know what has been treated and what hasn't been treated, and all the hair isn't mingling together until the very, very end. So combs. You can also use hair ties if you don't have combs. Hair ties will be perfectly fine, but when you're taking those sections, it's just easy to clip that section up and work on what's down below. The other sections, hair ties are fine, but while you're working on one section, having that clip is really, really helpful. So I would suggest a re-wetting spray. So as you're going through those sections, the hair is starting to dry out and it's just less manageable. You have a little more control when the hair is wet. So the re-wetting spray that I use is the Fairy Tales leave-in conditioner. It's a conditioning spray. You can use this every day and it will help repel the head lice as well. But while you're doing the comb out, just a re-wetting spray, you can use water, you can use leave-in conditioner. This is a really good one to use in conjunction with the head lice repellent. So I also suggest a cape if you have one to protect the clothing. Or if you don't have a cape, a button-down shirt. If you put a button-down shirt on, then whatever's underneath is protected from the chemical that you're putting on the hair, the re-wetting spray, and any head lice, eggs, or nits that should drop onto the clothing. You can just kind of take that all off and throw it right in the hot wash when you're done. You're also going to want to make sure that you are in a well-lit area. The area of my house that I usually do it in is near natural light or a big window when the sun is coming in there. I do try to do it early in the morning to midday, not later in the afternoon to evening, because the natural light is not as good, and the light from the lamps, it's just not as effective. So if at all possible, I would be in a very well lit area near an open window and natural light. So down to the actual treatment. You are first going to split the hair into 4 quadrants. So 4 quadrants, you're going to go from front to back all the way, and then your other quadrant is going to go from the top of your ear to the other top of your ear. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to go from the nose straight back and split her in half. Show you here, we get a nice straight line down the middle, all the way back. And then, like I said, you're going to go from the top of the ear to the other top of the ear. So, kind of get you right here. So you're going to get that section. Clip them out of the way. And clip this one out of the way. And then you can go to the other side and get that top of the ear section. Clip that one out of the way. Then within those sections, I always start at the front of the head and I work through these 2 sections first, and then I move to the back of the head just so I get the least amount of hair done first. And then this hair is always thicker towards the back. This is going to be less dense, finer, thinner hair. This is going to be more density, thicker, coarser hair. So I get the easy stuff out of the way, and then I move on to the more bulky hair. Within those sections, you're going to start at the bottom. You're going to work your way up the section, and you're going to take paper thin slices, paper thin. Like I said, you're going to start at the base and work your way up, taking paper thin slices. So With mannequin hair, it's a little bit different. It might not look like paper thin, but click that out of the way. I mean, I would even say that's probably a little thick, but because it's mannequin hair, I can't really do too much about that. And I say paper thin because you really should be able to see through it. And you can almost see through it, but on human hair, it would be a lot more thin. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would take a slice. If you don't think it's thin enough, I would take a piece of paper, see if you can see through it. Like I said, this one I would go just a little bit. It's so hard with a mannequin, but that's a little bit better. You can see through that hair. See through that hair a little bit better. There you go. After you do the comb out on the person that has the live bugs, eggs, and nits, and you remove everything that you can see, now you're going to repeat this process again. So it is understandable that you're not going to get everything. That's why you're going to continue to do this process over the next probably month at least, but we'll get into that. So after you treat the infected person, you are then going to check everybody else in the house. Also, anybody that they've not come in contact with, but if your kids slept over at the grandparents' house or slept over at a friend's house or something like that, it would be courteous to let those people know so that they can check their heads, they can do their own little home-based isolated treatment. Moving on. So check everyone in the house. If anybody else has bugs, eggs, or nits, they're going to need to be combed out. But regardless, you're going to treat everybody in the house with that chemical. If there's nothing present on their head, just treat them with the chemical, rinse it out, and you're good. If they have anything on their head, they're going to need to be treated, and they're now an infected person. So everything you do for the infected people, you're going to have to do again repeatedly until you see nothing on their head. The other people have been treated, they're good. Next, you are going to do all of the bedding. You are going to do pillowcases, bed sheets, coats, hats, scarves that have come in contact with the infected person or the infected person's items. So this is where it gets a little more broad. You are going to want to make sure that all that stuff is taken care of. Wash and dry on the hottest that the fabrics can handle. If the items cannot handle the hottest wash-dry cycle, what I suggest you do is put them into a garbage bag, tie them shut, and put them somewhere until 2 weeks after the infestation is over. So once you go through all these comb out processes and you haven't found anything on any of the heads for 2 weeks, you're going to continuously do this, washing everything, sanitizing everything. I do it every 7 days. So every week, that person gets their head combed out, the infected person or persons get their heads treated, combed out, all the bedding gets washed, all of the pillows get washed, all of the scarves, coats, hats get washed, not just the infected person, everybody in the house, all of that stuff gets washed every 7 days because it goes through the life cycle of the head lice. So the items that can't be washed and dried on the hot cycle, put them in a garbage bag until 2 weeks after the infestation is over. So if anything is left, it's absolutely dead and gone because you don't want these things coming back. Trust me. I recommend getting an upholstery spray. The upholstery spray is available at your local drugstore. I believe the one that I have used recently is a RID brand or a NYX brand. It's an aerosol can, and then you're gonna spray everything that you can't wash. Upholstery. So inside of your cars is one that people don't think of. You're also going to do your furniture. You're going to do computer chairs or beanbag chairs or whatever they're laying on. You're going to want to make sure that you vacuum your floors frequently. Those are fabric items as well. The likelihood of head lice living on these items for longer than 24 to 48 hours is very slim. However, you never know. Somehow, that bug that is now on the infected person's head survived somewhere long enough to get onto that person's head. So in my house, I just don't take any chances. So I recommend the upholstery spray and vacuuming frequently. Hairbrushes, hair utensils, and then any of the items that you are using for the comb out process, I run them through the dishwasher on the hot wash and dry cycle. If you don't have a dishwasher, or if you don't think that your items can withstand that hot cycle, you can boil them on the stove in a pot, hot boiling water. You can throw some soap in there, antibacterial soap, but ultimately it's going to be the heat and that kills the bugs and kills whatever, the eggs, the nits that are left on the comb, brushes, scrunchies, whatever it may be. So now that you've gotten through that whole process, and it's exhausting and it's frustrating and your kids don't like it and it's frustrating for you because you're the person that has to do it, and I can totally sympathize with the feelings of what if I have head lice and who's gonna check me and who's gonna comb me out. If you come across that, you just give me a call. I will help you out. I am not afraid of them. I do not have a problem checking your head, and most of the time adults do not get it. You shampoo your hair enough, you use blow dryers, you use hair products, you use curling irons, you use flat irons, and bugs just don't like that stuff. The heat from it and the constant agitation from it is not something that's an ideal living condition for them. But if you get there and you need somebody to check you and give you the reassurance that you do not have anything on your head, you just give me a call and I will help you out. I want you to keep in mind that just because you found head lice and you treated the head lice, the person that it came from may not have found head lice and may not have treated it, or they may not know how to properly treat it, or they may not have somebody in their life that cares enough for them to help them treat this parasite. So it is really nice if you find it that you let the school know, you let the daycare know, anybody, let the school office know, so that they can just remind people that this is a thing, and because the schools don't check for it anymore, it's now our job as parents and sadly hairstylists to look for that in these children, because it's easily transmitted, and once it gets out of control, it's out of control. So, be on the lookout for symptoms, look for itching, look for little red spots that would be bites around the neck and the back of the ears. Those are all things to look for. Kids constantly itching, that's a really big sign. And it could be something else, but it could be head lice. So I'm just gonna add a couple more things here about the Fairy Tales line. The Fairy Tales line has a head lice line, curly hair, extra moisturizing. They have a line for swimmers, clarifying, for being out in the sun, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna kind of show you a couple of these real quick that they have in their head lice prevention line. It is called Rosemary Repel, and there is a shampoo and a conditioner, perfectly safe for daily use. Lots of all natural tea tree oil, lavender oil, jojoba, moisturizing, very good for daily use, and it also has a lot of those essential oils and scents in there that head lice really don't like, so it keeps them away. So that's very nice. Also the conditioning spray. I've had clients tell me that they sprayed this on their jackets, their backpacks, just different areas on different pieces of clothing to even keep the head lice away. But it is good for a daily just conditioning detangler type of thing. And then it also has those oils and those scents in there that the head lice really don't like. So we carry that as well here at Rule 32. And then I do keep in stock the head lice treatment, so if that is something that you're looking for. I do not carry the upholstery spray, but like I said, you can find it at the drugstore, you can find it at Walgreens, Walmart, Target, Dollar General, whatever it may be. So, and I think that's it for today. So yeah, if anybody has any additional questions or comments, or if there is a topic that I have not covered yet that you would like to see a video on, please reach out to me, comment below, like and share these videos, and share them with people that you feel they would be informative and effective for. And I can't wait to see you all next time. Thanks for watching.